Welcome back, weary travelers, to Recorder on the Wall, where we are going through every single Redwall book. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Pete.
I'm Kayde.
And no Drew or Wilder this time. We knew Wilder was out, and Drew hasn't responded, so if he comes on, great. If not, we'll worry about it later.
Today, we've decided to take a different path through the books at the moment, as we decided on chronological order, and oddly enough, one of the books, only one portion of it takes place in a different time period.
Yeah, so, Jake likes to complicate things.
Yep. So
you would say that.
And so today we have Book 2 of Legend of Luke, which is a flashback. Why is it not an entire book? I don't know.
But it means we go from start of the narrative to end of this little narrative within 1/3 of the normal time. So
yes, It's a self-contained story.
I'm always wondered why Jake's never did like a short story collection or an anthology.
Didn't he? Well, it wasn't Redwall, but he did do a book, 7 Strange and Ghostly Tales.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
And we may have to do his non-Redwall work another time, but.
So we're going to be doing it. Are we going to be doing episodes on Castaways: The Flying Dutchman and its 2 sequels?
We could, maybe for like Halloween or something.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we also figured out when we're going to do the bad fanfiction episode.
Oh dear.
Oh yes. Yeah. All right.
So Luke the Warrior. This was published in 1999. So right about the year after I found the series, and 2 years after the series actually. And it was a 12th book published, and chronologically speaking, it's Well, the segment we're covering today is like between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a full book of its own. It's not Brocktree or Martin the Warrior, but it definitely takes place in between.
Yeah.
Yes, and there is no audiobook for this one either. Fun fact.
Interesting.
Oh. All right, so we are free to butcher as many names as we want.
And there are a lot of names to butcher.
There are, in fact.
All things considered, we have a lot of people who get introduced in this book.
And then are never mentioned again.
Well, and some of them are, brutally murdered, but,
yeah.
Some of them are, plenty of them are murdered off-screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But let's get started. Now, last time, I want to point out, we were kind of confused, chronologically speaking, of where Lord Brocktree happened in comparison to where Luke's status was. And reading this, I don't even know if Luke was alive by this point. Because we're told outright that Angetron's brother, Green Eyes, hadn't really gone on his conquering path yet. And by the time Luke comes along, we know he's already up and at it. I would say at best, Luke is just born or not yet born by the time Brocktree was happening.
That makes sense. I just want to say real quick that it might sound like I'm super angry or like, I don't know, have a certain tone, but that's just because I'm recovering from being sick. So,
we need that critical point of view. We have to address the, what did you call it, hair privilege from time to time?
Yes.
I love that joke.
Just everything I say tonight will be said in this voice of, like, supreme judgment, or just me being sick. you get a pick.
Fair enough.
Which one it is.
Okay, so, introducing, when the book picks up, we are introduced to a bunch of characters.
Yes.
So, we have Luke's tribe, who has Luke the Warrior, a.k.a. Martin's father. We have Sonya, his wife, lady not appearing in this book.
I believe it's pronounced Sayna, because it's S-A-Y-N-A.
Yeah, that's more sense. Sayna, then. She has maybe, like, one line.
Yes, and this really bothers me. Speaking really bothers me, apparently, too. But from a feminist perspective, like, I'm really tired. I know it makes sense for the story, and it didn't bother me when I was younger, but I'm super tired of having the female die to drive forward the male story. Just like, no, stop.
I mean, I would argue that parents in this universe have a higher death rate than Disney parents.
Yep. Unless they're
true.
main characters.
Yeah.
Madame Mayo had no idea how good he had it.
Oh
right,
God,
exactly.
No.
It just happens a lot in these books, like throughout the series, and so I just find it annoying from a feminist perspective. It does make a good story, though. I will say that.
Yeah,
I just find it funny because I think of other media and like a lot of Japanese RPGs I've played have the exact opposite. So if it's a son, the dad is dead. If it's a daughter, the mother is dead.
Oh, wow.
Like in Chrono Trigger, Chrono, the main character, you have no idea what happened to his father. There's his best friend Luca. Her mother's alive. There's Marley, her mother's dead. There's other characters where like the opposite gender parent is dead. It's really weird.
Well, I mean, at least one parent apparently has to be dead for there to be a story.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot in Redwall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many orphans.
Well, and occasionally you have deep-voiced sisters who get you to the place that only show up in the animated series.
Yes.
Don't worry, Matthias. I will be showing up in a later episode.
So we have Sonia's mother, Windred, and this is not her first appearance. This is not her only appearance, but one of the major ones.
We find out she doesn't have much of a long shelf life either.
No, but that's a book for another time.
Yep. These poor people, all dying.
We have character from Mossflower, Timballisto. Is that right?
Timballisto, yep.
Timballisto, which is called Timball by most people.
Yes.
And then a bunch of other people.
I call him Tim in my head.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Timmy.
I don't know if I got everybody from Luke's tribe, but I wanted to get these names on paper because some of them are quite silly.
Yes.
Get another one of those, right? It's like, look at the names.
There's a little girl that's really cute. Fripple, I think is her name.
She doesn't last long either.
No, she doesn't.
One of my first comments about this was, this feels around where the names start to get weird. Twula, Verg, Deno, the Lewd Daskar.
Yes.
You know?
Or some of these are just like, really? Like, okay, we have on the vermin side, we have Clubface. Okay.
Yes.
We have Feebit. Yes. We have Bootbrain.
Chopsnout.
Yeah. Flogtail. I mean, when this franchise started, a lot of the names were based off of plants and flowers and things like that, and
or common European names, yeah.
Yeah, so we had now we're literally like Eris and Bob territory because we have Martin and Twula.
Yes.
Because you're merging the earlier names with the later names, and that's where it starts getting really bizarre.
Yeah, these strong family names that carry down through the ages, right? Clubface. Of House Clubface.
Harug.
I do kind of like the name Velo Daskar, though. I think that sort of has a malevolent ring to it.
I bet his parents hated him.
Yes. Look at this sweet little baby. What shall I name him?
Vilu.
What about Dastardly? No, that's too evil. Daskar. Okay, I like that.
Yes, and that kind of makes me wonder how many of these names were named by their parents and how many of these names did these vermin or other people kind of pick for themselves once they were, adventuring or whatever.
Oh, well, we know Clubface, like I said, strong family name, so... No.
Well, I'm hoping that Chopsnout was not his actual name.
Yes, that would have been, terribly prophetic if that were the case.
We've named him Chopsnout, so you've basically planned out his entire future. Yep. Yes.
I think it's funny, his first name is Reynard, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Latin word for fox. So,
male fox.
They named him Fox. That's a very clever name for a fox.
I mean, it's not like another media company out there chose to name their main character after the species. Nintendo. Fox McCloud, yes.
That always makes me think of Remus Lupin. Like, how did you not know he was a werewolf with a name like Remus Lupin?
Yeah, I've been rereading that series along the side, too, and it's just...
Oh, see, I was thinking of Dragonheart, where he goes, instead of calling me dragon in your language, you call me dragon in another language.
Or, just Harry Potter's all full of it. Like, let's literally have a family name Lestrange. And I almost want to think of... my mind flashes back to Robin Hood Men at Tights. Wait, you changed it to Latrine?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to repeat what they...
We'll go there.
Yeah, not for this podcast.
Well, or heck, in there, Loxley and Beguel, the perfect combination.
We also have a bunch of other just random people who start either neutral and go one way or say neutral. Like, and I want to get this exactly right. Weragula Purpleface, but his real name is Beauclair called Beau, Farenthal Cos Fortingham. Yes, his parents
I cannot
hated
help
him.
you with that.
I think we need to have a poll of which name is more ridiculous.
Yes.
Or there's the absolutely brutal, like, Brock Sampson-esque Black Squirrel, Rengar Foeseeker.
Rangavar? I believe it's Rangavar. Yes.
Yeah, she's a female Brock Sampson. I'm sorry.
She's like a squirrel version of Krega.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
They would either get along very well or absolutely hate each other. I don't know which one.
I can see Rangavar and Krega in like a battle, and the two of them look at each other and goes, I bet I can kill more than you. I bet you can't.
Yeah.
It only counts as one.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if her given name when she was born was Foeseeker, because then her parents really planned out her path.
Yeah, and then there were also like the moles and the hedgehogs who Luke's tribe met on the first day.
And they kind of just go away after the ship sails. But
yes.
I don't know. Druntunneler sounds like a really stereotypical name for a mole.
Yes.
I need to name a mole. Tunneler. Okay.
And the hedgehogs together are the, quote, tip-tip brood. Okay.
Yes.
No,
that also seems
really
kind of stereotypical.
I think that their last name is like our version of like Johnson or Smith, you know?
Yeah. And then we have Welf, I guess we're going to go with. Is that her name? She's the leader of the hedgehogs.
Welf.
The matron.
Yes.
The matron.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I hope you like her, because we don't see much of her.
I bet we'll see her play. Oh, she's gone after 2 pages. Oh.
So, like I said, when the book begins, we pull out the map. This is north of Salamandastron, northwest of General Mossflower. So there are caves up there.
I think it's to the north also, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the north. Ow. Sorry, my dog just kicked me in the stomach. I'm sorry.
You're not petting her enough.
I guess not. Jeez.
Yeah, this takes place considerably north of Salamandastron, and it made me think in my head, like, in this entire franchise, we never see the Long Patrol Institute and Navy, and I keep wondering why. Because, okay, yeah, you've got mostly the beaches and all of Mossflower to patrol. I get that. But this is not the first time we're going to see Vermin forces come from the sea.
Yes, I believe it was addressed in Rogue Crew that the reason that they don't do that is because they're not very good sailors. Like, they're not naturally sailors. So I was like, hey, why don't you hire otters? So
the otters are like, ships? We don't need no stinking ships.
Yeah.
No, the shrews can do that. And the shrews cannot fight. The shrews just fight with each other too much. So
yeah. The only instance I can think of a hare at sea is way far ahead in Hyrule Lane.
Yes, I remember that. But I was thinking, like... Sorry, go ahead.
No.
I just lost my thought. Oh, found it. I was just thinking, like, the beginning of this book, these mice trying to find a place where they can be safe. It just kind of, I guess, brought home to me how hard it was before Redwall was built, like before they had like a refuge to go to, that they were just kind of wandering around and always were kind of having to keep watch for danger. So I guess I just didn't realize before, like, how needed Redwall was, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if we go all the way back to the original book, it's outright said in times of war when they're, oh, look, there's a vermin horde over the next hill. Yeah, Redwall's like, yeah, everyone get in. So, yeah, you may be right on that.
So, yeah, it was just kind of a bleak sort of beginning. Like, they were just trying to find a place where they could be safe. And they just wanted to do something happy because, a baby was born. And then it kind of went wrong.
Yeah, when the book begins, Martin is a day old.
Aw, baby.
And he's already trying to grab his father's sword.
Yes. Like, okay, I don't have kids. Like, I'm not a parent, but my sister does. And she would freak out if her kid got near a blade like that.
I mean, this is the original steel sword, not the meteor steel, but still. And, yeah, Martin's like, Dad, that's a nice sword. Give it.
Me want. Some kids want a pacifier. Some kids want to become a warrior and kill sea rats,
Yes.
So, Luke, to celebrate the birth of his new son and the fact that they found relatively safe grounds away from the quote-unquote vermin species.
Yeah, well, I love it. Luke makes a lot of proclamations in this book that are really bad in hindsight. Martin won't ever have to fight while I'm around, and no trouble will ever come our way. Like, dude, why don't you just, walk under a ladder and have like a black cat cross your path at the same time and go punch a mirror?
I'm thinking of that scene in the original Hot Shots movie where the one pilot, he's literally walking across the base with his wife, and he literally fulfills each one of those cliches in order. Like, he walks under a ladder, he sees a black cat, he accidentally trips into a mirror and breaks it. The works.
Yes.
And then later after he shot down and he was rescued.
Foreshadowing. Go ahead.
Never mind.
I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. If you haven't seen the movie, do, because it's like those two are like the last good parody movies of the 90s before we got all the scary movies and epic movies.
Oh, I love parody movies. I mean, good parody movies.
Airplane.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, and like throughout the entire book, it feels like Luke is constantly saying stuff like that, though, and then literally, because a lot of this is very condensed, 2 pages later, horrible things happen.
Yes.
I also want to point out, Luke outright mentions, hey, my wife and I were both born in St. Ninians.
God.
Yep.
So that's why that place is unlucky.
Let's not go there, Jeremy. This isn't Game of Thrones, okay?
I don't know. I feel like Luke is just like walking bad luck for everything. Well, his whole family... Well, no, I'd say after he left, everyone else was okay, but after he left, then worse things happened.
Yes.
Yeah. He and his wife are both St. Ninians, and the actual cool part is we actually hear St. Ninian's alleged origin. It's a song poem, because why not?
Well, I actually like this one.
Yeah, I do too. This is one of the few things I did remember off this book, where it explains that this guy named Ninian and his family, a mouse, they were living in Mossflower, and he was a complete layabout, and his wife hated him. Well, hated his work ethic.
Yes.
So she built the Church of St. Ninians, and
the
alleged thing on the entryway was the St. Ninians, but it's worn down just to St. Ninians.
Yeah, that was cute.
And speaking of cute, Baby Martin is adorable.
Yes.
We see him both like as a baby, and we see him toddler, and then we see him like when he's like about 8, respectively.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, he's adorable. But yeah.
Yep.
So after Luke tempts fate and goes like, "Oh, don't worry, everything will be fine. Now me and all of the best warriors will go off and pick some daisies. We'll be right back. Oh, light that fire as big as you want. No one's going to come bug us."
I think they were actually going to get food, but anyway.
Yeah, berries, I think. But it might as well have been going to pick daisies.
Yeah.
Berries, daisies. I mean, can one eat daisies?
In this series?
Yeah.
In the previous book, they were eating moldy flower and dandelions, so, take what you get.
Yeah.
And when Luke gets back, and your wife's dead.
Oh.
Yes. Along with, it sounds like pretty much all the
Old
women,
and sick.
children, old ones.
Martin survived, so.
Yes. But didn't he survive because the grandma was holding him and then she tripped and fell and like some sand kind of blew over and kind of hit her?
Yes. So, I'm sure nothing bad will happen to her in the future.
Nope.
No, she'll live a long, long life, and then so after Velu Daskar, I feel like I need to say the name like that now.
Why?
Tears apart everything, and I noticed later on they're like, "Oh, let's get slaves and stuff." And this one, he's just like, "No, let's just kill everyone."
It's
I
a
think
Tuesday.
Didn't he say that he was killing those who were too weak or too young or too old to be slaves?
Oh, okay, yeah, and that's all that was
So
left.
I guess none of the women or children were good enough to be slaves on the ship. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I don't remember any of it. The day Velu Daskar graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday. I'm not sorry, Jeremy. I had to do it.
And Luke goes, "Now, I'm going to get in my boat, and I'm going to kick Velu Daskar's butt so hard. The next Velu Daskar, one of you is going to feel it."
No, I do want to point out, after Luke loses next to everything, he kind of loses the will to live.
He kind of gets like the heroic blue screen of death.
Yeah.
Let me quote Robot Chicken here for their Star Wars special. "Oh, he's lost the will to live. Oh, why don't we just use all these other people who need his help, and he'll look into his leadership. We just get down on our knees and pray about it. We don't always have working knees anymore."
Well, to be fair, it does say that he confides in Martin. Like, he and Martin still are close. It's like everyone else, he couldn't care less about anyone else, but at least he still cares about his son.
Yes.
But to get Luke out of this funk, they hit him in the back of the head.
Actually, they don't do much. They just got, like, one of them comes over to him and is like, "Dude, you want some help?" And he's like, "Yeah, why didn't you ask earlier?" And they're like,
"Are you sure?"
Okay.
I thought they smacked him in the back of the head.
They did, like, right after it happened, he was standing in the ocean, like, just standing there. And so they had to
drown myself.
Yeah. He was just, So they had to knock him
"Ocean,
out.
take me to Velu Daskar. I am at your..."
Yeah.
So Luke and his team are like, "Oh, let's make weapons." And as we learn through many of these books, their weapons simply are sticks with really pointy tips.
Yep.
Yes.
And so then we have Fox show up.
Well, we also have Toddler Martin at this point.
Yep. And he's
and
like...
even the picture is adorable.
Aww.
He's like,
Chapter 19, yeah.
"Oh, yeah." And he's like, "Don't worry, son. One of these days, a ship will show up, and I'll kill them all, and then find the one that killed your mom and kill them." And Martin's like, "I want to be a warrior. Warrior's a tough life. I want to swing your sword around." Yes, you will."
Yes.
I wonder if this was like one of the reasons Martin never had kids, where he's like, my family was pretty screwed up. I don't really want to pass that on.
Yeah, Luke seems like not a dad I would want to have.
I'm sure there's tender moments we don't see, but...
Yeah.
I'm gonna...
I'm
I don't
surprised
know.
there isn't a portion where Luke isn't just going, revenge! It's like, hey, Luke, what do you want for breakfast? Revenge!
Yeah, okay, we got some apples.
Revenge!
With revenge. Oh, there's a nice revenge sauce.
Vengeance! All right, so that's a plate of revenge topped with vengeance. Okay. And I love the fact that when we get Fox, the captain with no snout, when he shows up, he sees, like, you know, the fire on the coast, and the dumbest members of his crew come up with the exact same plan as Daskar, and then he pokes holes in it. And he's like, that's a stupid plan. Let me explain why. Like, maybe Velu Daskar not the smartest and wisest sea rat of all time.
He is very well spoken, though.
This is true.
Yes. I kind of got a Hector Barbosa from the Pirates of the Caribbean series vibe off him, honestly.
I only watched the first 3 of those.
Okay, if you watch the first one, that's the kind. Yes, he's the bad guy.
Okay, it was
in the
a while
first
ago.
one.
Okay.
He's the whole. You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. That guy.
Oh, okay. Yep. Although I did get the impression that maybe their crew was a little bit smaller than Daskar's crew, and so that's why he was a little bit more cautious.
It's a smaller ship, and we're outright told it's got broken parts. So
true.
So that may be why he's like, I don't know about charging around.
And I do love the fact that in like the most grade school manner possible, Fox takes offense when his entire crew start making fun of his prosthetic snout.
Yes.
It's like, okay, dude, you gotta. As speaking as someone who was bullied pretty extensive in grade school, yeah, I kind of felt bad for him. At the same time, you're the captain.
Just kill someone.
Step up.
You're a sea rat. Just slice someone's head open, and they'll all listen to you again. Or drown someone, or do something evil that the rest of the sea rats in this franchise do.
But instead, he locks himself in his cabin and is like, I'm not playing with you guys anymore.
I'm going to my room. Oh, I wish he was in more of this book. I would just do that voice for him the entire time. I'm going to sneak up on him and kill them all. Mm.
Okay, that's
and
like...
then there's Luke with, that's a nice ship. I'll be taking it.
And Luke's like, I need your weapons, your boots, and your ship. And Chops is like, you forgot to say please.
That was not your Chops Nut voice.
You forgot to say please.
There you go.
Luke's like, can I have your ship? I don't wanna.
That reminds me of Cartman from South Park, that voice.
Chops is like, I'm in my cheesy pants.
Respect my authority. Ooh, I'm dead.
Respect my authority.
And then Luke and his warriors kill them all.
Oh.
Yes.
And Luke's like, revenge! Then I will make the sea run red with your blood. Your son is watching. I don't care. It's good teaching for him.
Daddy, you're scary now.
Daddy, why are your eyes red? I have the blood wrath.
I'm Voldemort. Oh, wait. Wrong series.
Luke's like, I am vengeance. I am the knight.
Okay, guys, we need another Heddick special over here. Okay, thank you. Someone drag Luke back to camp.
Yep. All right, time to go sleepy time, Luke. Vengeance never sleeps.
Okay. So they spend we're told this takes place over a couple of seasons, but Luke and his warriors spend time getting better at their doing, making proper weapons, steal Fox's ship, and they're like, okay, let's go sail for revenge. And I'm sitting here reading this like, you still have a son.
Yeah, that bothered me.
People look after.
And said son is like, Daddy, can I go with you? And everyone's like, dude, just don't even go that far. It's like, no, son, you can't come with me. But here's my sword so you can kill people.
Yes.
Now, don't make sure no one ever takes this sword from you.
No, I want to quote this exactly, because I wrote this down on purpose.
Okay.
Quote, always use a sword to stand for good and right, never do a thing you would be ashamed of, and never let your heart rule your mind, and never let someone take it from you. Give it to your child, and if they're not worthy, hide it so someone can. And Martin will fail at all of that.
Well, come on, he's like 8.
Yeah. I know. I'm aware.
I love the give it to your child, but if they suck, give it to someone else.
Yes.
If your children are complete losers, make sure you hide the sword away.
Well, I was going to go, that's where Martin gets the idea to set up all these puzzles from, is his father.
Meanwhile, and then as we find out through the years before Redwall, everybody and their mom gets that sword.
Yes.
But let's see. We're going to cover this when we get to Martin the Warrior itself, but does Martin uphold this code?
Dude, he doesn't even uphold it by the end of this portion of the book because it overlaps with Martin the Warrior.
Yeah.
Like, he literally doesn't uphold it for 50 pages.
Yeah.
Never let someone else take it from you. Oops. Oh, and make sure you keep it in pristine condition. Don't let anyone ever snap it in half in a dorm.
And never let your heart rule your mind.
Use the Force, Martin.
Yeah. Oh.
So, Luke has gone to the dark side, and...
Blood wrath.
Blood wrath.
So, other than the fact that he's being a terrible father...
Yes.
Which puts him in line with plenty of other characters in this franchise.
Yes. And leaving him with his grandmother. Okay, fine, at least he's giving him someone guardianship of this kid.
There we go.
So,
I don't know, maybe Luke is... I mean, this happened in the previous book. The father leaves the son alone because, reasons. At least in this one, he's not trying to make up some excuse. So he's like, well, 2 male mice in the same family can't live together. You made that up. Bye.
Yeah. So after all of that, they rechristen the ship, the quote, what was it originally? Greenwing?
Sana. Yeah, it was what was
it? Greenhawk.
Okay.
It was the Greenhawk originally, and then it's the Sanya. And they leave in the middle of winter, which seems categorically unwise.
Yeah.
Luke, not the best decision maker.
And he outright admits, Luke outright admits, instead of doing like short practice voyages to kind of get their bearings as sailors and figure this out, no, they're just going to go ahead and leave.
Yeah, they just trust the repairs that a bunch of untrained random mice have done.
Yes.
And
it's funny, too, because Jakes was a sailor, I believe, so, he actually knows things that they should be doing, so he's purposely writing, a group of really bad sailors.
Was he? Neat. I didn't know that.
I think so. I thought I read that somewhere.
I'm going to go look that up, if possible.
I was going to say, I could be totally making that up. I am on cold medicine, so...
Well, he...
Did he ever have the hidden ambition of becoming a songwriter? Because, I don't know. There are at least 4 or 5 songs within this section of the book.
I was trying to count them, actually, and then I lost count of them.
I hit the point where, I don't know how far, I think it was before they get to Bew or Bo, whatever his name is. Before they even get to him, there were 4 songs already.
Yeah, and I can't use the best internet resource at the internet, aka Wikipedia, to confirm that, but I can tell you he did grow up on a coastal town, so it's entirely possible.
Okay, yeah, I thought I read it in the about the author at the end of one of the Redwall books, but yeah, I could Google it, but then I'd get distracted.
Oh yeah, actually, it's right at the back of this book. He has worked as a longshoreman.
Okay then.
Nice.
So yeah, they leave in winter. I mean, you're going to have more food around autumn and winter to a degree, but not like there's ice or anything.
Yeah, and storms.
Yeah,
and
which they run into.
They're hugely northwest of Mossflower itself, And we know Redwall gets significant snow. So...
Yes.
So, shortly into their trip, all of a sudden they find an island with a random hare on it. And he's like, hey, that guy you're after, I totally know where he is. Or I totally can go after him. And by the way, for some reason, there's like 1,000 vermin on this island. We should run.
Yes. Take me with you.
Yeah, it felt weird because they're just kind of casually chatting with him for a long period of time. And then all of a sudden, dude, we got to run.
Yes. This was a little weird.
Yeah. And then they get the heck out, although a couple of them get captured by this, I just call them the island vermin. We have an unnamed weasel chiefess.
Well, that's a different island.
That's later. Yeah, there's lots of islands.
Oh, excuse me.
This is very complicated.
Never mind.
Yeah, they get away from that one, hit a different island where they all get drunk on fruit.
Except for Luke and, I want to say Vernon, but that's not right. It's Harry Potter. Verg.
Verg.
Not Uncle Vernon. He's not in this book.
And I don't know, I made a scary connection where they get captured by those cannibals. They're hung on logs in a forest. Dear God, they've been captured by Ewoks.
You can't see me right now, but I may be facepalming exceedingly hard.
Well, I've accomplished my goal for the day.
You win.
Anyway, back to that.
I brought the podcast to a screeching halt.
I was going to comment on the Bo the hare is a very good cook, and the things he cooks are delicious, and I want them.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we have limited food porn here, but yeah, the cheese and onion turnovers generally sound good.
Yes.
Yeah, I do like the comment where he's like, "Why is he a bad cook?" No, don't listen to him. We're all bad cooks.
Ooh, there's a recipe on the BBC website. I'm gonna have to look this up.
Nice. But I think this is the first occurrence, at least in the order we're reading them, that we find a hare who actually can cook, like a hare that eats a lot but actually cooks. So a productive hare.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're told he gives very generous helpings, and okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But they're not. But Luke is not very good at rationing food.
No.
Which leads us to the island I mentioned, haphazardly.
Yes. So, the forest moon of Endor? Alright. I could just picture...
Hey, where's my Jeremy voodoo doll?
I'm just picturing Pete, like, holding his hands out as if he's trying to strangle the monitor right now.
Maybe.
Oh dear.
So yes, they land on another island with other random vermin who don't really speak the common language, the universal language of English, and they are led by a weasel chiefess, and she wants to see the one she's captured, including Bo the hare, face against this Solaris, and oh gosh, it's a snake, and oh maybe this will be a serious fight like it was against Asmodeus, and the snake's dead.
And it's dead.
Yes.
And in its death throes, it kills all the vermin. This story feels very, very rushed. With a lot.
It definitely could have been its own book.
Yeah.
Like, we could have had a B-plot of Martin, and now just chafing under his grandmother's care, and maybe leading into Martin the Warrior.
Yeah. It's, and it feels like this whole sequence with them on the island, you could actually chop this out, and the story would be exactly the same.
There's actually, I did, because I'm not a nerd at all, but I found a copy of, there's an abridged audio version of this that's like, they cut it down a lot, and it's narrated by Jakes. There's not a full cast, but it was only available in the UK, so I, of course, bought it for not a small amount of money. And listening to it, he cut this whole part out.
Oh.
Like with the the island with the weasels and everything.
And the snake and the snake's dead. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and so meanwhile we have Viludaskar has captured a bunch of new slaves, including a very, very scary squirrel lady.
Yes, I
Go
like
on.
her.
Take it from me. Okay, that was not my best Brock Sampson, but
Oh, God. So are we going to have yet another female character with a man's voice?
Oh, come on. I won't do that. But
she's like, oh, God, I wish I could do that voice like immediately at any time, but oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so we're introduced to Ranguvar's Foe Seeker. Yep. So her entire lot in life is to find people to kill. Okay.
And it's
good
funny.
job.
It's funny because it said it was a peaceful community of squirrels. So, like, am I to picture the squirrel just being like, I want to kill something. Why can't I kill something? And then when the ship comes and, like, captures everybody, she's like, yes, I finally get to kill things.
Well, I guess you could say she's the black sheep of the family.
Well, yes. I mean...
Oh. Okay, now I'm trying to strangle my monitor.
If you want to get very literal about it.
So it's the black squirrel of the family.
Yes.
I guess this is... Then we get a point where I guess this is kind of jumping ahead or back or just other parts of the book. What was the point of Bo's fake death? He's in part 1 of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the and never mind, he's back. That was quick.
I didn't even read part 1, so
I don't get that. Yeah, because the first time I read it, I was like, well, I know he doesn't die because he's clearly there telling Martin this story.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm thinking it through, and I can't really think of besides to add some like drama. Yeah,
like I get they're telling the story as it happened, but just from like a reader perspective, like why? And it just also makes me think. I mean, obviously we haven't gotten there yet, but Bellmaker did this too.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
So possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So because he's a hare, I would think he would be a little bit bigger and harder to kill. So if they had taken him as a slave, then it would only be Verg, and they wouldn't have had this buddy cop rescue adventure with the two of them. That's a bit of a stretch, but that's all I got.
Well, from a story perspective, like it fits with that. It just, I don't know, they felt like there could have been a different way for them to, like when the ship gets smashed into, he could have just kind of fallen to the side with Verg.
Totally, and and I mean, I guess maybe Jakes was like, well, I've killed all these people and made everyone sad, so maybe someone who people thought was dead to not be dead would be good.
For people who have really short attention spans and forgot the first one, forgot the beginning of the book.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I'm stretching. I don't know.
Well, since we're just reading this portion, I was like, wait, doesn't he tell the story at the beginning? Like, I flipped back and checked. So,
yes.
Like, I guess I did forget, but also I didn't read that portion of the book this time.
To be honest, I didn't, and I was just, when he's gone, I'm like, well, that was short.
Yeah.
And he's back.
Like, we will never forget Bo. He will always be within our memories. I'm over here. No, it's almost as if I can hear him now. I'm okay.
I am not dead yet.
Yeah, and then we get to a point where I do like the buddy cop reference because we reach a point where Verg is so annoyed with him, he starts poking fun at the fact that hares always say, what, after everything.
I laughed at that.
That was good.
Like, Okay, if we're going to be a little self-referential, that's pretty fun.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, why on earth would I say that? What? Like,
you always say that. No, I don't.
what? Like,
so the gang is captured, mostly dead.
yes.
Oh, yeah, because...
Daskar's like, I'm going to ram the ship. Like,
ramming speed.
Ramming speed. Bam! And that's the end of everything.
Yes.
And he's also extra evil about it, too. He's like, well, their ship looks damaged. Simply smash it? And he's like, no, let them fix it, and then we'll smash it.
Or, just capture it and have 2 ships.
Yes. I'm beginning to believe that you were right and he's not that smart. Didn't he even say afterward, maybe we shouldn't have rammed them so hard because we don't have very many slaves?
Actually, I think that was actually one of his dumb henchmen mentions that. He's like, we shouldn't have rammed it. We should have just, taken everyone. All of them are dead.
Yeah.
Sounds like his dumb henchmen have more brains than him sometimes.
Well, it's not the first dumb henchman to actually be better, but better than their boss, but hey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, too bad Trun threw all the vermin HR ones out the window so they can't get promoted.
Yeah, do you think Vailu has vermin HR on his ship? Or
he probably rammed them with his ship at this point.
Yes. He probably made them walk the plank.
We're told he does that, so...
Yeah. He doesn't seem to care about his giant crew either. It's to the point where Bullflay runs over to him and is like, boss, the angry squirrel bit off my ear. And he's just like, yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah. Which makes me glad my animal only kicks me in the stomach and doesn't, bite my ear off.
Yeah.
I guess Ranguvar didn't realize that phrase wasn't meant to be taken literally. Well, you don't have to bite my ear off. Oh, God!
Yeah.
And so Luke is chained to an oar, which, when Luke is captured, barely able to see, barely knowing what's going on, he sees Valu Daskar and goes, revenge! And just starts strangling.
Yes.
And acts like Pete does when I make really bad puns and starts strangling him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I gotta say was pretty impressive.
Yeah. And so Luke and his 2 remaining crew members, so it's like everyone else is dead.
Yeah.
Whoops. Worst leader ever.
Yes.
Like I said,
They
Luke is bad luck.
They do come up with a pretty good plan, though, to get him to go back to where they think the tribe is.
This is true. And Luke's like, don't worry. It's like Luke even says, don't worry, we'll find them, we'll get rid of Valu Daskar, then we'll head home and we could all live a peaceful life. Okay, never mind. Don't worry, I'll lead Valu's ship there, and that's where Martin and all the other warriors will come out and help us. Oh, God, everyone's gone. Yeah,
I was going to say, so are we to understand, potential spoilers for Martin the Warrior, but are we to understand that they were all taken as slaves by Badring then? Or did they just, some of them move on?
That was my interpretation.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Luke outright says that, hey, the people he left behind, including his son, are going to be smart enough to see the ship coming and hide all the vulnerable people and do enough to draw the rest of them in.
Yes.
So, I was also wondering, is that what they're doing? But by Luke's reaction, he's just like, oh. Well, I guess they're on vol vacation.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like, because I think the way that they would hide was to put, brush curtains or whatever in front of the caves. And it seems like when he showed up that they were just, empty caves.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of them were hiding. It was my impression.
We might need to wait until we get to it, so maybe next time we can figure it out. But I swear in the beginning of Martin the Warrior, they said he and his mother were away from the tribe or something. Because
sorry, I was just remembering it in Mossflower. This just came to my brain. But in Mossflower, it says that Timbalisto was on Ripfang's ship as a slave.
Yep.
So maybe a bunch of them got captured by Ripfang as well. They're just all these, all these evil tyrants just capturing people.
Again, it brings up my question: why in the world doesn't the Splunk Patrol have a navy?
Right.
Here's my other question: why, after getting attacked twice, does that tribe not move somewhere else?
And maybe the ones that were left did. They were like, okay, screw this, we're going somewhere else.
They're waving to Luke, don't worry, we'll be here when you get back. As soon as Luke leaves, all right, let's get the heck out of here.
Yeah. Yes. So, where were we? They were captured.
Yep. They were planning to defeat Daskar, and Luke and his duo were like, yeah, don't worry, you'll never get anything out of us, and we totally won't tell you where the treasure is, and this amazing treasure that we totally have and are not messing with you.
Yeah, and he totally fell for it.
Yeah.
Even
later on, when Luke is like, I guess you realize there's no actual treasure. No, you totally got a treasure. Don't think you're going to trick me. And Luke's like, yep, can't be tricking you. You're the smartest sea rat there is. And I love how Bo not only used up all the rations on the ship that the mice have, he uses up all the rations on the rat ship.
Yes. So, should we get into that? So, Bo and Berg find each other, and they bury all of their crewmates who died, and then a sea lion helps them build a raft so they can chase the ship.
Yeah. Boag!
Yes! I like him.
He's fun.
I just
and then
picture
he's also
him...
got dolphin buddies.
Yeah, I just picture Boag to have like an old grandpa voice. Like, my grandpa. Like, that's a bit of a mess, that raft you're making there. Like, something like that.
Get you some old-fashioned ladder rack. That'll fix it up real fast.
Well, sorry.
I do have one major question.
Yes?
I do have one major question here, and that's going to lead us into the... How anthropomorphic are they? Yeah, how anthropomorphic are they in this one? It's fair to say, based on the book art and in most of everything we see in book about everyone who draws on land, yeah, we're definitely on the anthro side. But when it comes to the freaking sea lion and dolphin, not only are they more towards the feral side, but where do they fit in the size of scale here?
Dolphins
are huge.
I was going to say, they're significantly bigger than mice.
Much less otters or hares or any of the other species.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's funny because there's I know the difference between a sea lion and a seal, but it was interesting to me that the sea lion speaks English and the seals in later books have their own language.
Mm.
Although the dolphins follow the flipper style of communication.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's nice to see unusual species for once.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We'll eventually see, but I can't remember if there are other instances of dolphins showing up.
I don't think so. I think there's like a whale at some point.
Yes.
But I don't think dolphins come up again.
So the sea lion and the dolphins, they take our buddy cop to go rescue the others.
Hooray!
Yep. And then they climb up on the side of the ship, and Bo's like, I'm hungry. I'll be right back. And he goes and steals a bunch of food.
Yes. And luckily he does share it. I'm sure if this was Fleet's gut, he would not have and would have eaten it all himself.
Oh, my
God, yeah. If it was Fleet's gut, he would have drowned by now. No, he would have been yelling at the dolphins.
You should have helped us.
He would have been yelling at the sea lion. He would have been yelling at everybody. And he would have been insulting Ranguvar just because she's another squirrel.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, oh, you're so strong. How come you can't just kill them all yourself? Yeah. God.
I mean, Lord knows that. Where I was going to get the Velu Descartes apparently doesn't run that tight of a ship because by the time the thefts are starting to get noticed, There's a lot gone missing. And we know it's Bo, so.
Yeah, and I like that his punishment for them, he's like, well, he finds like all these thefts, like these thieves, and somehow surprised that a bunch of lawless sea rats are thieves, go figure. And he goes like, I know you're not the thieves I'm searching for, but I'm still going to whip the living heck out of you anyway.
Yes, Vermin HR is definitely not present.
No, he's probably whipping them too.
Well, he probably told them a different departure time when the ship last left port.
Either that, or he's like, those were the first people he sent to go try and capture Rangovar.
Yes.
Oh no! Look, we just want to talk to you about benefit. Oh God, you're killing us all.
And so they.
Was there a riddle poem? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Huh? There a riddle poem?
I'm asking, was there a riddle poem? Was the Bogle a riddle poem?
Yeah, he made a poem about the sea bogle because I think he was just bored.
Yeah.
Bo did because he's like, okay, I've already cooked the food, I've stole all the food, I need to do something else. So he made a poem to scare the vermin.
Yeah.
Who thinks he's some kind of ghost.
And
so no,
this is
didn't have a riddle poem,
and it's like half a page too. No, there were no riddles in this one. Unless, actually, you know what? In the bookends, I think there might be, but yeah, in this portion of it, there isn't.
I cannot remember. I just read the second part this time.
Yeah. No. Well, we'll find out when we eventually get there.
Yes.
And there's even a part where, thankfully, Bo's like, I'm going to start singing, even though we have to be as quiet as possible. And Vert...
Yes, bad move, dude.
Yeah. It's like, don't worry, Bo, we forgive you. You're still better than Fleet Scud.
Yes.
Like, Bo would have to, I don't know, like, throw all the food down in front of the slaves to the point where they couldn't reach them, and then eat it all, and then complain about being full, and he would still not be as bad as Fleet Scud.
Yes.
So all these thefts are happening. Eventually, Luke and his partner and his buddies are like, yeah, we totally got this treasure that you want. And they get to the point where Luke is taunting Villu, and Villu's like, all right, I'm going to strap you to the wheel of the ship. And then later on, he's like, maybe I shouldn't have strapped him to the wheel of the ship.
Yes, this is what one might say a fatal mistake on the part of Vila Discard.
Most of this, I was kind of struck by most of this, except that Luke is kind of definitely revenge. But there's almost a like Kirk and Khan level of snark thrown at each other.
Yeah,
like Vila can be very like charming and disarming when he chooses to be, and then at the same time he'll like no, whip him, beat him, kill him.
Well, like the part where he said,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The sea can be a clever beast. Not as clever as you, though. No.
I don't know, Vila. I don't know. You kind of got a high opinion of yourself there.
Well, I kept thinking of in another reality, you and I could have been... No. No. No, you never would have been friends.
Yeah, we kind of get like the generic, like, well, you could totally join my crew. Oh, and murder helpless people? You're,
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, he's like, it's like, you must, man, telemarketers must hate you. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine Luke dealing with like a door-to-door salesman? It's like, here, I'm here to sell you life insurance. What? My family has been killed one by one, and I'm on a vengeance quest. Okay, I'll see you later, buddy.
Yeah.
Dad, who was that?
Nothing, son. Just another soulless monster. An insurance salesman.
I do like
that there are several moments in this where Vila Discara is like, I could kill you right now, and Luke's like, no, you won't, because you want the treasure. Like, he tries to do that several times to intimidate Luke, and Luke is like, nope, but you won't, because I'm the only one who knows where the treasure is.
And Baloo's like, oh, God. It's like, I could kill all the slaves. He's like, yep, you totally could. Like, you're not making this easy. Was it, no, nothing will ever be as easy as when you murdered my wife in cold blood. Well, you must be fun to have around at parties. I was, until you murdered my wife in cold blood.
So yes, Luke Luke deliberately crashes the ship.
Yeah.
Yes.
All he cares about is vengeance at this point, because he's like, well, my son's gone.
And how many of the slaves are still down in the hold? Remind me.
Way more than Luke cares about, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, I think.
Oh dear.
I think the other people tried to get as many of them as they could to safety, because it does say in the first part, I do remember that there were several of them that survived this, and a few of them wandered off to their own homes, and it said there are about 20 of them left on the ship, and then the people that Martin finds are the only ones that are left.
Yeah. I think it was like everyone who was on the opposite side of the ship of, like, the front was okay. Like, that was the piece of the ship that hung there, and then the rest of it fell to the depths. And so, yeah, Luke crashes the ship during a storm and starts trying to kill Velu Daskar by shoving his head into the wheel and trying to strangle him. And as his men are attacking Luke, all of a sudden they hear... I think I love the way it puts there. It says, the slaves were getting killed. Then Ranguvar's foe seeker arrived on the scene.
Yes.
And she just kills everybody. She kills the slave master by beating him and strangling him with his own whip, jumps out and starts beating people, grabs a pair of swords, and just starts cutting down everyone in her path.
Yep.
And it flat out says that she is possessed by blood wrath.
Yep, that's our only mention of it.
Yep.
You figured that would be with Luke, but no.
No. I think this is the only occasion of a squirrel having blood wrath.
I believe...
Jess.
Yes, Jess.
No.
Oh.
Jess.
Oh. Yes and Jess rhyme. That's funny. Sorry. I'm on cold medicine.
And yeah, the book ends with Luke and Ranguvar killing Velu Daskar and most of his crew and wrecking the ship, and it descends into the depths, and I'd like to think that Ranguvar was still killing people even as they were drowning.
Yes, that does sound like her.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty epic end to the story, I will give it that.
Yeah. The finale is really good.
I will definitely agree with that. But... like we said, this is kind of short, and we all know Martin's safe at home, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like
something.
this is a condensed version of like a full book, because if you look at it, you can actually see the 3 acts in the book. You get Luke, Luke and everyone on the shore, then you get the boat, then you get everyone trapped on the ship, and the finale. So like this could have been extended out into like a full book, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder why he decided to do it this way. I think one of the reasons I can think of is because Martin and Gonf are pretty beloved characters, so maybe he wanted to bring them back
to
do another like adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, because Gonf is only in Mossflower besides this, so like we don't see him we only see him once and that's it. So
yeah,
it does work, and it does. I mean, the final part of the book does lead into some of the longer-term ideas for Martin, where they said, like, he gave up the sword, and he hid the sword somewhere, and things like that.
Yeah, and I think we were mentioning earlier, like, where does Martin get his, like, do all the riddles for his sword? I'm thinking it was Gonf that helped him with that.
Yep.
I can definitely agree. So, anything else we're missing on this one?
No.
Oh. Oh, yeah. At one point, I do have a question, though. How much time has gone by since Luke left Martin behind on the cliffs? Because we're told that, right, it's still winter, but...
It seems like it's been a while, though. Has it maybe been like a year or a couple? Because it says weeks became months or something. I'm not exactly sure.
I could see a year, because I doubt Martin just walked off literally the day after his dad left.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Martin, you'll have many years as the chieftain and stuff. He's like, I'm going to go on a walk and, oh, God, hi.
Yeah.
You
That insurance salesman, Dad? That was bad, Rang.
Dad, you suck at finding places to live.
Oh, man, that'd be an interesting twist.
Yeah, it does feel like the ongoing fate for Luke's settlement there is, man, that looks like a peaceful group. Let's kill them.
Yes.
That looks like a peaceful group. Let's attack them and make them fix our ship, and then we'll kill them. That looks like a peaceful group. I'm going to kidnap them as slaves.
Yes. There's a lot of slavery in these earlier books.
Yeah. This is kind of like a really dark part of this entire... Like, in this book, too, where they have the ore slaves, and they literally have a section where one of the slaves says, like, oh, we all had to lift this beam, and if we can't lift it above a certain part, they're tied up in, like, a sack or something and thrown off the boat in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. That's lovely.
And that has real parallels with the African slave trade back in the 1500s to 1800s. Yeah. That's a little chilling.
Awful. That is awful.
Yeah, Valoo actually has a moment that kind of makes me think of Dragonheart, where it's like, I'll release you. And he shoots him in the chest with an arrow. Death is a release. And this one, like, oh, Valoo said he'd set them free. Oh, he totally did. He tied them up in sacks, weighted them down with bricks, threw them in the water, and said, you're free to go wherever you want.
Yes.
Or his other favorite method of execution was positioning the ship just far enough offshore that no reasonable person could swim back, and then letting people have their freedom by walking off the plank.
Yep.
Yeah. As villains go, this is one of the less crazy ones, but he's also pretty chilling.
Yeah.
In his own right.
Yep. Maybe not the brightest, but...
Well, brighter than Chop Snout, apparently.
Yeah.
And you know what? Still less annoying than Fleet Scott.
Yes. Who?
Wow, we are never going to let that go, are we?
No. And you know what? I didn't really think about it until rereading that book of how annoying and terrible that character was.
Yeah, it's sort of, I mean, I get through these books relatively quickly when I'm just reading them for my own, like, for fun. So when I divide them up to talk about them on the podcast, I try not to read ahead. I'm not always successful. But when I divide them up, I just have a lot more time to think about it. I'm like, yeah, this guy's a jerk.
Yeah. Well, like, I've never looked at these critically before, so...
Yeah, I haven't either.
Pete, what have you done?
I don't know.
Look at what you've unleashed upon our fandom.
Oh, I want to cry. I'll get over it. Oh, look, I'm over it.
And it's still not as quickly as I got over Fleet Scott's death.
Ouch.
He has a grudge. He has a legitimate grudge here. So. I don't know. As far as books go, since this, like as we said, this is rushed and albeit self-contained, do I hate it? No. And do I sit here want to strangle Luke through the pages for being a terrible father? Yes. But no, I think it's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine a lot of these bad fathers in this franchise ending up in, like, the Dark Forest at the end, and Boar's like, I left my daughter alone and the entire area got conquered by an evil wildcat, and Luke's like, I left my son alone and my mother-in-law got killed in slavery and my son was taken to slavery and fought against everything to get his sword back, and, like, just keeps going on, and eventually they're like, okay, enough.
It's like confessions. Like, they're all confessing to Abbott Mortimer all the evil they have done.
And Abbott Mortimer's like, God, no wonder why I called myself Father Abbott. I'm the only decent one among here.
Yeah.
And when is Ambrose Bright going to get here to make me booze? Oh, God.
It's like, God, I need a drink after listening to all that.
And I mean, like I said, I don't think that this book is, in general, anti-feminist. I just wish the mother would have had a little bit more of a personality, and I wish her only function wasn't to, like, speak a few words and then die.
Yeah.
She might have just well been a sci-fi birthing pot for all that matters.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
really a shame because
I think if this had been extended out for an entire book, then she probably would have had a bigger role in the story.
Yeah.
I think that wraps us unless anybody else can think of anything.
No.
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, next up is it Martin the Warrior?
Yep.
It is, and that has an audiobook. Yay, I've missed the audiobook.
Yay. And it's certainly not the darkest one of the darker ones.
No, it's a happy book.
It's a mostly happy book, except for, the moment in the end where your heart is ripped out of your body.
Yep.
And stomped on.
Yes.
And then kicked across the room. Yeah. If anyone couldn't tell, we're not 100% looking forward to rereading the last part of Martin the Warrior.
No, but we'll venture through it.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to do the animated series?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the plan after Martin the Warrior was tackle one of those seasons.
Yeah, I figured it would be something it would be something a little bit more happy to do.
Mhm. Stop crying. Sorry, my dog is.
Your dog's what about
right.
the end of Martin the Warrior? And...
Yes.
Yeah, but which season of the animated series should we do?
Hmm.
Might as well do the first, just Redwall.
Yeah. In order, yeah.
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 If we really wanted to be cruel to ourselves, we could just, tackle the Martin the Warrior animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was going to say, could we do maybe a couple episodes per podcast, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Okay.
And then we'll have to make sure everybody can see it, too. Because I think it's free on YouTube from...
It should be.
That's how you and I watched, the first episode or two back for the other podcast, so...
Yeah. Hang on, I'm checking right now.
Well,
but Jeremy, where can they find us on the internet in the meantime?
You can find us at recorderonthewall.com. Our podcast is also available on iTunes and Google Play Podcasts. We have a thread in the Eulalia subreddit, and we are also on the official Redwall forum.
And speaking of the official Redwall Eulalia subreddit, we are sponsoring their current chef contest. Winners will be invited back on for the next food episode.
That sounds fun.
Yep.
So, next is Martin the Warrior, Book 1, in about 2 weeks. We'll see you next time, folks.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.